All right. All right. Hi, everybody. We are streaming live on Facebook with our Moms Connect call. This is somewhat of a new thing. We did this last week as well. And this week this is our Moms Connect call almost every Monday night. Our mission at Moms Across America is to educate and empower mothers and others with actions and solutions to create healthy communities. And we do that in a variety of ways. We focus on GMOs in our food supply, toxins, 5G, EMFs, health freedom. And we really try to focus on the solutions because we've got enough problems, right? We need solutions. So tonight we have a great discussion. First, we're going to go over some news. I've got about 5 points or so that I want to bring up, some news articles and some campaigns that we're doing because, we moms are always up to something. And so I want to share our new campaigns that what we're up to right now. And then we also are going to have a really just getting down into the nitty-gritty of pain and how you can cope with pain. And we're going to do that with our official dad champion, Dr. Eric Plasker. Give us a wave, Dr. Eric.
Okay. As always, love hanging out with you. I hope maybe we'll get another dad on the line.
Yeah, we hope if you got the link this morning from Moms Across America from our newsletter, you're able to get on our Zoom call with us. If you're on Facebook, you're more the observation mode right now, and we will try to check for questions and things there. But if you don't answer your questions live, then we'll get back to you later, or we'll have social media people help with that. Dr. Eric Plasker is a part of or promoter of the 100-Year Lifestyle. So we do want you to check out his website, 100-Year Lifestyle, and also his great articles and blogs, one of them which we're going to mention tonight on momsacrossamerica.org. He's our new partner, bringing in the dad energy, the provider, the champion, the protector of health, and we're so happy to have you with us. And of course, we have moms from all across the country with us. We've got Carla from Australia, and Shelly, I'm not sure where you're from. We've got Susie that's been on with us almost all the time. Frankie from Detroit, Melanie, I'm not sure. We've got a bunch of moms on with us. We hope we'll have some chiropractors on with us too. And then we're gonna talk more about how you can manage pain. But first, I'm going to share some of our campaigns that we have going on right now. If you haven't visited our website in a while, we are always up to something. And our latest campaign is really quite exciting for me and for a lot of people, because what has happened is that Chinese tech executives have admitted that 5G smart cities have big costs and small benefits. These are the executives straight from China, straight from, I think you pronounce it, Huawei. It's the biggest 5G proponent company in China and around the world. And they're actually admitting, you can see our article here in our campaign, that the electricity costs were 10 times higher than the profits in China in 2019. Just the electricity to run these, they call them small cell facilities. Now, I want to be really clear before I get into more of the cost versus the benefits. What we're talking about here is not T-Mobile's 5G that's simply an upgraded 4G. Okay, that's just marketing, like, oh, we have a new updated product and it's called 5G instead of 4G. That's not the 5G that we're talking about. We're talking about what they originally started calling 5G was the 5G millimeter waves. They refer to it as MM-wave. And those millimeter waves are shorter. And so the cells, they call them small cell facilities, or the cell towers, need to be about 600 feet apart. Instead of, they could be, the macro towers are usually 5 miles away, right? For 4G to, 3 or 4G, and that's fine. They could be miles away, and that's not nearly as much of a cancer risk or harm to human beings as when there's one 6 feet outside your home and every 600 feet apart in your neighborhood, right? That's a problem. That high density, close proximity, small cell towers that they were trying, or they have been, and installing thousands of them in China across the country in their cities to have this smart city network in which your phone can talk to your laptop, which talks to your coffee maker, which talks to your refrigerator, which talks to your TV, right? And your car can remind you to buy milk because it knows that you're out of milk because your refrigerator no longer has milk in it, like the barcode, it doesn't see that anymore. So they want to create these smart city grids. And to do that, they need to put in, on average in Wuhan, China, was 10,000 of these small cell facilities. Now, what they're seeing a year later is that these small cell facilities, these cell towers, use 3 times as much of the energy as 4G. The electricity costs were 10 times higher, right, than the profits. Their small coverage area means high density of cell towers, close proximity to residents and office workers, sometimes right inside the office building. 73% of the customers also say that 5G is not needed. They don't want it. And there's widespread complaints about speed and more interference. And because of the high costs and the low usage, like the customers don't want it, the Chinese city officials are actually, or the industry is actually turning off the 5G from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So even if they did want to use it, they couldn't use it. So this sounds pretty darn inefficient to many people. And it turns out that we believe, and you can see in the article here, that it looks like that AT&T and Verizon agree, because they have launched their 5G networks and they're not focusing on the millimeter wave, the shorter 5G millimeter wave. They are saying they're still going to be putting it out in New York and San Francisco and a few of the big cities, but it looks like they're moving away from this. So this is really great. And our campaign is asking them to completely stop this inefficient, costly, high energy use, harmful technology. So please do check out this campaign. It's about 5G, and you can just click here down on the bottom to sign the petition to AT&T and Verizon today. We really would like to have thousands and thousands of people sign this petition. We don't ask for your personal information in this campaign because it's just a letter to AT&T, Verizon. But in our other campaigns, we do need to ask for at least your location because it's going to a specific person. For instance, in our top 10 reasons not to mandate the COVID vaccine, we have had 57,000 letters sent to our governors. Yes. To ask them not to mandate. Yay, yes, thank you all of you to ask them not to mandate the COVID vaccine and support an individual's right to health freedom. So this is huge because, we all know that medicines are not good for, not all medicines are good for all people. We have different genetic makeups, we have different ways of reacting to things. And it's just not scientifically founded to say that everybody could get the same type of medicine and have that be safe and effective for them. So we are very much advocates for choice, personal choice, and health freedom. And we ask that you please sign this particular letter to your governors and do that as soon as possible, because Washington and Virginia right now are thinking of mandating the COVID vaccine, especially now that Pfizer has claimed that it's 90-something% effective. And those numbers are just completely mixed up and let's say cherry picked, right? To be to be as favorable as possible. So we want to make sure that everybody please signs this campaign as well. And why this is important is because not only is our government looking to mandate, but Ticketmaster, this is the latest news, Ticketmaster is planning to check your status for vaccine status for concerts. And this is, of course, propelled by the fact that Pfizer is claiming to have such a high efficacy rate. And they're going to have a clear health pass or an IBM digital health pass testing and vaccine distribution providers like LabCorp and the CVS Minute Clinic all involved in this grand scheme, which would require that attendees to the concert would either get tested beforehand and show proof of testing that they are, free of the coronavirus, or that they pass some sort of health check, at the status. Prove that they've gotten the vaccine or that they have been tested and do not have the virus. So one of those two things. And more news is that this is connected with travel. You know, we have Thanksgiving coming up now, and the day after Thanksgiving, American Airlines and many other airlines will begin booking flights to full capacity. So they won't be separating out the people in the airplanes anymore 6 feet away. But the caveat will be that everybody on the plane will be required to wear a mask for the full duration of the flight. And I see Dr. Plasker's head shaking that he's thinking this is not healthy. And we can talk more about that. But I just want to, you know, get on with the news right now and just say that this is what's coming up, folks. Yeah. Now, the only thing about the mask that might possibly be beneficial is that we hear that these airplanes are being sprayed with toxic chemicals in order to sanitize the airplanes, and that these chemicals could actually impact your ability to reproduce. Sayer G from Green Med Info had an article on that. I don't have it up right now, but you could check that out. You don't want to be breathing that stuff in, folks, but I'm not sure that a mask is really going to prevent that. Yeah, Dr. Plaster shaking his head no, over a 6-hour flight. So I'm feeling very skeptical towards airline flight altogether right now. And you know, primarily due to those, the chemicals and, you know, wearing a mask for the entire 6 hours. Anyway, all right, so however you feel about that, this is not I don't think is also a great turn of events. Ireland has developed the world's first health passport. It's a digital platform to support increased global COVID-19 testing. And of course, they'll be tracking people who have gotten the testing or not. And I know a lot of people are very concerned about having privacy, which reduces your health freedom, of course. And Ireland has taken the first step to reduce that privacy. So I know this is a lot of news right now, but this one is incredibly important. This is from Stand to Health, or Stand for Health Freedom. There is a hearing happening tomorrow. So if you can tonight sign this, we'll put the link. Let me see if I can move this up here. We'll put the link here, Stand for Health Freedom. We'll put it in our chat. Maybe you're on social media. You can go to standforhealthfreedom.com/action. Vote no on B23-0171, and there's dashes between all of those words. This one is about whether or not 11-year-olds in the DC, the Council of District of Columbia, DC area, would be able to get vaccinated without their parents' permission and without informing the parents that they have received a vaccine. So even if they have an allergic reaction, the parent would have no idea of knowing why they had that reaction. And this is urgent action is needed. And we really do hope that you will sign this letter again. There is another hearing tomorrow. This is the second one. It has passed through the first committee, and now it's going up to another committee. And I'm extremely concerned about an 11-year-old being able to choose whether or not to be injected with all of the different ingredients and contaminants, the chemicals, the heavy metals that are in vaccines, without even having a fully formed brain. I mean, your brain is not fully formed until you're 25 years old. And to be able to make these types of decisions that can affect you for a lifetime doesn't make any sense at all to me personally. I don't know, Dr. Plasker, do you want to weigh in a little bit on this one with 11-year-olds being able to get vaccines?
Being able to get them or being able to decide for themselves?
Yeah, okay, so being able to decide for themselves.
Yeah, definitely not. I think that, and should they be getting it? Listen, I raised my children with natural immunity, not artificial immunity. Thank God. One of the things that we talk about a lot is that we have an epidemic of neurological disorders in this country, it's different than any other country. Our vaccine schedule is insane compared to other countries, and it's never been tested. And so I think it's just really important that people wake up. It's a very challenging. I mean, you're bringing up issues that are related to action, political action. That is, I think, very, very important to have a resource like this where somebody is this much of an advocate, a group is this much of an advocate to be bringing these issues, that at least for now, we have a choice to be able to speak out against these things. It may get to a point where we don't even have a choice, that we're not allowed to speak up. There's so much censorship that is out there right now. So, I would not take these action steps, items that you're inviting people to do, Zen. I would not take them lightly. I would take them seriously. I think 57,000 is a great number to start with. I think it should be 58,000, then 60,000, and 75,000, and 120,000, and 1,000,000, because our voices need to be heard before we don't have a choice to have them heard. And we see also people, more and more people saying, you know what, I want a choice. Now I want a choice. And the reason why people are saying I want a choice now is because the option to have a choice is about to be taken away.
Right. Well, it could be if we don't speak up. And
correct.
I don't want to project into the future that this is going to definitely happen, because listen, these senators and representatives, these governors, they have children too. And they probably know somebody with autism or with cancer, or they definitely know somebody with an autoimmune disease. I mean, that is just rampant in this country right now. And so they are going to be reconsidering whether or not they should be mandating this, not just for their entire state, right? But or allowing laws like this to pass, but for their own family members. So I would urge people to never just give up or project that this is going to happen, because then you're putting that energy out that it is going to happen.
Yeah, and I'm not, and I hear what you're saying, and I don't mean to do that. What I think is really important is that we can't just have these conversations in a private group or in a Facebook meeting. We have to let them know, because they're not on this call right now. We have to get them on this call through the action steps that you're inviting people to do.
Yes, absolutely. So otherwise that could happen or will happen, right? So we need to take action. We want to point out that Dr. Plasker is providing now really great articles for us. One of my favorite, Becoming a Least Vulnerable Person. We talk so much about COVID-19 and the most vulnerable people. Well, let's look at becoming one of the least vulnerable people by amping up your immune system naturally. Do you want to say a few words about that, Dr. Plasker?
Yeah, this is a really important point. Everybody's concerned about the most vulnerable people. And when people like you and I get concerned about all the radical steps that the government wants to take and is taking on behalf of the most vulnerable people, we have to all become least vulnerable people. And almost all of this is under our control. And so, yes, we know seniors are affected, but we've also learned that it's not because of their age, it's because of how they are living, the lifestyle choices that they are making. Like one of the big things that people aren't even aware of, and it's in the article that's on Moms Across America, that's also on 100-Year Lifestyle, is polypharmacy. And that's a really big deal. The average senior's on like 17 medications, 17 different medications. Yes. There's side effects that are, people are taking medications to offset the side effects from other medications. Their brains are becoming injured. Their bodies don't know how to respond. Their immune systems are getting suppressed. Their nervous system is getting suppressed. And so these are things that people can change if you're willing to, depending on how old they are, how far along they are, to get them to change. But even more importantly, Zen, and for our listeners is right now, think about this. If everything that you do as it relates to health is a pharmaceutical approach, and there is a lifestyle solution, and you choose the pharmaceutical solution instead of the lifestyle solution, and you're 30, and you're going to live to 80, 90, or 100, that means you're going to be stuck in that pharmaceutical approach maybe for 50 years, and there is no drug that has ever been tested for more than 8 years, I believe it is. Some have been tested maybe in, not in a laboratory, but watching populations over 10 or 12 or 15 or even 20 years. But here's the problem with that, is that at some point, the side effects that they talk about on drugs.com, which is a great resource where you can really see side effects and how it affects the systems of your body, not just symptoms of your body, but the systems of your body. Then you realize at some point, you're not going to be able, but it's not sustainable to stay on those medications without having a problem. So to be able to be conscious and make choices that are lifestyle oriented instead of pharmaceutical oriented while you're young, and when I say young, I'm even talking 60, you're going to be much better off in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for leading into that. I can attest to the fact my dad was on 17 medications. This was just a few months after he got the high dose flu shot and the DTaP shot. He got the high dose flu shot and started feeling faint and weak. And he fell one night, and because he got a scrape in his arm, they gave him the DTaP shot because apparently, tetanus is, they were afraid of that, which is completely ridiculous. And that the first ingredient in the DTaP shot is aluminum. And so within 2 months, he had COPD, emphysema, chronic kidney disease, chronic liver disease, congestive heart failure, and he had to get open heart surgery at 91 years old, 2 months after he got these shots. And he got through that, thank God. And then he went into rehab, and on rehab, they had him on 17 different medications, just just filling him up, right, with medications. He came to me to live with me because the home was costing that he was in was costing $475 a day. And because he's my father and I wanted him to be taken care of properly. And within 2 months of coming to us, we had him down to 2.5 medications, eating all organic, green smoothies. Thank you. And we got his aluminum levels down from 246 down to 6. And that was mostly by having Fiji water, which has silica in it, which can remove the aluminum in the body. So there's a lot of things you can do. Did take him to a chiropractor as well. It was a little tough. He had some major back problems, but we did try to incorporate that as much as we could into his care. So let's transition now and talking from that, because that was one of the reasons why we brought my father to chiropractic care was because of pain. And today there are so many people dealing with pain, and they're going to their doctors and they're being put on opioids. And the opioid epidemic, according to a man that I talked to in the industry back in March, I believe, or April, he predicted 250,000 deaths from opioid addiction this year alone. And nobody's talking about that. They're all talking about COVID, but they're not talking about the deaths from addiction, from pain. And in most cases, this can be dealt with in alternative ways. We don't have to first, you're going to talk about chiropractic care, and we're going to get into the nitty gritty of that. And there's also pains. Like I gave my dad comfrey tea. That helped a lot. Stretching and walking, getting outside, fresh air, exercise, healthy food. There's so many different other things that I urge you to try before you go to a Western medical doctor and get on an opioid or some kind of pain medication. That's going to also, by the way, Tylenol completely messes up your liver, and you can die from the toxicity just from Tylenol. So whenever we did give it to him, it was with milk thistle, which helps the liver to take, get that the Tylenol out of the body. But that was far and few between. So let's talk about how you can manage pain with chiropractic care, and why would you do that? Because for some people, going to a chiropractor seems scary. Like you're cracking their bones and not bones, but there's a cracking that's going on. There's the head is jerked quickly. It can seem scary to people. Why would that relieve pain and not cause more pain? Can you talk about that?
Sure. And I'm going to back up a little bit. And what's interesting about what you're saying and people's perception of chiropractic, there are a lot of prehistoric conceptions about how chiropractic works and what chiropractic does. And a lot of that stems back from really smear campaigns that were done way back in the 60s and 70s that stuck for decades, to the point where the chiropractic industry sued the AMA. I don't know if you know this or not, but we actually sued the AMA back, and it was a 12-year battle. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. We won on a local level, we won on a state level, then we went to the Supreme Court, we won at the Supreme Court level. And the ruling was this, that the AMA colluded to slander the chiropractic industry, to make up lies about the chiropractic industry, because, believe it or not, I know this is going to sound crazy how this all comes together. I was in school at the time at Life University, and it was a time when the vaccine bill for 1986, the act which we've talked about many times, that bill was being passed in Congress, and chiropractors were opposing that bill. And we became the target of a lot of like, who are these chiropractors to, but we were right. And because we were opposing all of that agenda, they literally smeared us, I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars, this is in the 80s, to smear our industry, to say that, oh, they're gonna crack you and it hurts. And the reality of it is spinal adjusting manipulation of all types have been going on for thousands of years to help people. But because of that control issue, the perception issue, and the legal battles that were going on, we got a bad rap. Fortunately, we know that when the judge came down and said, hey, you guys, you need to apologize to the world. That is not true. You made up all these lies. And they did. But what really stuck were the decades of misinformation. So to speak to your point, chiropractic care is the safest healthcare profession. I was had a run-in with a neurologist just recently who was passing prehistoric beliefs on to a patient, and the reality was in our conversation, and we work with a lot of medical people. We love medical people. We get along with them. We don't agree with a lot of what they do, that's for sure. But our malpractice rates are like 1/100th of what a neurologist would pay, which means that you are 100 times more likely to be seriously injured by a neurologist than a chiropractor. It is extremely safe. You have more of a chance of being struck by lightning than being injured by a chiropractor. And so it is very, very safe. And not all chiropractors do the type of adjustment that you're talking about. There's a lot of different styles of chiropractic care now. There are many, many, many different techniques. I think there's over 200 different styles and techniques right now. And what's interesting is that more than about the procedure of the style of adjustment is the philosophical understanding of why it's done. And so let me speak to that because I think it's really important.
Tell us, because how does, the movement of the neck, which I just got today, by the way, I went to the chiropractor that you recommended in my area. You can go to the 100-year lifestyle and look up your area and find a chiropractor in your area that has, like you mentioned, different types of lifestyle, different types of techniques. But was just adjusted today. And I have to say, I went a couple days ago. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting your flow of thought here, but I just want to add in, even though they do, the adjustment of the head and you hear the cracking, there's times when they do the drop table. And so that's not a cracking, it's just a shifting of your spine and your body. They did one in my neck, and that was with the gun thing, the little like
activator, right?
Activator. So, and they did it up here near my ear because I complained I've been having a crackling noise, like a Rice Krispie noise in my ear for a month and a half. And it is really annoying because I hear it mostly before I go to sleep. And so I got my ears cleaned. It wasn't that. That didn't work. I still heard it. And when I looked it up online, it said something about eustachian tube, like something, and that there could be jaw issues. So I told them about that. They treated that. I believe it was 4 or 5 days ago. I haven't heard the noise since. And now this isn't a pain issue, so I'm kind of, digressing here. But my husband mentioned, like, we're going to do this lifestyle thing. We're going, now twice a week. And then later on, we'll be going once a week. And we're going to be consistent about this. He said, this is the only doctor bill we're going to have to pay. This is it. So I'm willing to experience that slight, and it's not even pain. Like when they adjust your neck or back, it's just a little surprising at first. It feels like it might be painful, but it's just like, ooh, it's just surprising. But why does that adjustment relieve pain? What is going on there?
Well, it's a great question. And so what happens in the body, obviously, is that, listen, when we have a baby that comes together, 2 cells, one from the mom, one from the dad, they come together, they grow for 9 months into this miracle baby, quadrillions of cells with an innate intelligence, how to heal, regulate, deal with pain, inflammation, anti-inflammatories built into your body. All of that is built into your body. And all of that is
I don't think Big Pharma likes to hear you say that.
well, too bad. It's the truth. And you know, the truth is spontaneous when people hear it, and lies, it takes trillions of dollars to buy your brain. And so we're just going to speak to you this truth, and it works. And watch, you didn't believe it crackling in my ear. Come on, how could that possibly? And you go, and because we have an innate intelligence and our body knows what to do. And the challenge is that there are things that happen along the way in life. The birth process, injuries to the neck and the spine during the birth process, learning to walk as a child, falling 100 times a day, sports injuries, car accidents, stress, physical, mental, chemical stress, nerve interference, lifestyle interference, environmental interference, which you talk about a lot. There's interference to the expression of how the body adapts. And if there's a trauma of any kind, physical, mental, chemical, whatever it is, it can affect the nervous system. And
yeah,
the
and can I
nervous
interject
system,
that like a chemical trauma could be an ejection of a high dose of aluminum.
sure.
A chemical trauma could be ingesting 1,000 parts per billion of glyphosate every day for breakfast in your Cheerios, or in your hummus, right? So there could be like this onslaught of a chemical or toxic intrusion into the way that your body works, right? This is what you're saying, right? Your nervous system and your body.
Yeah, and can I pull up an image?
I think I allowed you to share. Let's see.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm gonna do that right now.
Yep,
Okay,
great.
so this is an image that I want to share because it shows the nervous system. You and I went over this, okay? And I think this is really important. So you have your brain. You asked, and I'm answering your question, by the way, but the answer is different than the way you asked the question.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
So,
okay.
And I think it's important that everybody understands that your nervous system is essential for you to live, for every function. So your brain, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys, your stomach, your muscles, your ligaments, everything has nerve supply. And so when there is, and it's like we call it your body's natural IT system, it's your information technology superhighway. Why is that important as it relates to your question? Because if you get an injury of any kind, physical, chemical, emotional stress, whatever the interference is, it can affect the nervous system. And it does affect the nervous system because the nervous system tells the body how to adapt. It tells the body what to do. So let's say you sprain your ankle, or your baby falls 100 times a day learning to walk. Whatever the injury is that affects their nervous system, the communication pathway can get messed up. And the terminology for that is it can become subluxated or get a subluxation in the spine. And so that subluxation causes interference to the nervous system, the body's IT system. And when that happens, health is not possible. People have abnormal reactions to pain. They do too much anti-inflammatory, not enough anti-inflammatory, the body's natural anti-inflammatory response. It gets affected when the nervous system is interfered with. So instead of up and down, really smooth communication, it can be erratic, like static phone. You hear other word that I'm saying, and the communication just doesn't get through. It gets messed up. So when the sensory input goes up incorrectly, and then the response is incorrect, the body is constantly trying to find itself. And it can never get centered if the nervous system is not right, which is why we have so much chronic pain. And then when people, what they'll do is they start covering up the symptoms with medication, which is a big part, I think, about how, as the way you asked your question, which I'm not sure if you meant it this way or not, is I think why chiropractic becomes so effective for people is because it doesn't treat the pain. It eliminates the cause of the body's abnormal reactions. It helps the body adapt in the way that it needs to so the body can heal itself. I'll give you an example. Now, I'm a 58-year-old man. I've been under chiropractic care for 45 years, something like that. I don't take any medication. I don't have a medicine chest in my house. I have a bathroom cabinet. It's nice having the extra space. But just as an example, I took a fall. My wife and I were hiking. I landed on my arm. Smash. literally within 5 minutes, I had a big balloon of swelling here. And I showed Lisa, I said, Lisa, look at this. She's like, whoa, doesn't it hurt? I said, yeah, it hurts. Of course it hurts. And I didn't do anything for it, no medication. I went back. I also, because I fell, I jarred my neck. I knew that the nerve supply on my neck was probably affecting my arm. So I went back home. I did put a little ice on it, didn't take any pills, got adjusted. And literally within 7 days, a miracle happened. It was gone. It was all gone. My body healed itself. And you say, well, but why didn't you take medicine? Didn't it hurt? Yeah, it hurt. But when you numb the body does not know what to do. You confuse the body. And so I think the reason why you talked about chronic pain, people start taking medicine to cover up the pain. It's like, oh, I want to take the pain away. And you have to understand, I am extremely compassionate. Man, father, etc., extremely compassionate, which is why I would like to see you get over something in 7 days that's supposed to take 7 days and not drag it on for 5, 10, 15, 20 years because of numbing the body and covering up the pain.
Right. So are you saying that if you numb the body's reaction to the pain, because we're talking about the reaction to something that's going on in the body, right? Whether it be joints,
well, when you take medicine, when you take a medication that makes you feel better, it dulls the nervous system.
Okay, but so what's the problem with that though? Does it actually dull the healing?
Yeah, because the body, the nervous system is what tells the body what it needs. We need more of this. We need to take away some. We need more antibodies. We need more inflammation in that area. Okay, we're done with that inflammation. We need the next response by the body. We need the absorption.
So is the pain at your elbow a message to the rest of your body to send in the troops and to like activate the healing there?
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, because the trigger.
Numb that, then the body won't. If you numb that, then the body won't respond in a normal way.
Correct. The body gets confused. The body gets confused.
Okay, I see. So that's kind of like how when you have a kid has an allergic reaction, like my kids used to get allergic reactions, rash and bumps and lines around the mouth, and the doctors used to just want to slap a cream on it in hopes that it goes away. And then I learned, wait a second, that allergic reaction is actually the body's way of signaling that there's inflammation going on in the gut, that rash was actually a good thing for us to see, because it was how we could know, wait a second, there's something going on in the gut and we need to address what we're putting in the gut. Otherwise, slapping a cream on this is going to do no good. It's just going to keep happening. It's
right,
like,
which is what a lot of people do, is they'll slap a cream on it. They'll take an antacid to stop the imbalance in their stomach at the time that may be causing acid reflux or gastritis or things like that. And they keep eating the same things. They keep doing the same things that cause the problem. And so these acute things where the body's trying to say, hey, look at me, watch me. I am your body. I am telling you what I need. But when we turn that signal way down, when we numb that signal, the body does not know what to do. So the body can't react and respond appropriately. And in a case like yours, there are cases, of course, if there's an anaphylactic situation and it's a life-threatening situation, you need medical intervention at that point. That's a severe crisis where it could be life-threatening, where there's anaphylaxis, you see the breathing gets affected. And certainly that's an important thing where you would need to address it, but that's not most cases. That's like the severe crisis. Day to day to day, most people, they have things that their body can handle if they just cut way back or eliminated the drugs and just started to work with their body's ability to heal itself. And we see people, we don't get mad at people because they're taking things, but we ask them and say, listen, if we can help you to live without them, would you want to? Yeah. And why wouldn't you want to? Do you know how much money people save by not filling prescriptions? I mean, I don't know that we have an aspirin in our house. We haven't, I haven't seen an aspirin. I wouldn't even know what it looked like, or a Tylenol. I wouldn't know what it looked like.
We just moved in, and like you said, my bathroom medicine cabinet is bare except for a few, brush and toothpaste and a little bit of cosmetics and all natural cosmetics, by the way. But our supplement cabinet is pretty plentiful, homeopathic remedies and vitamin D and vitamin C and B12 and, things like that. Because those sort of compensate for the toxic interruption that we're getting from our food supply and the environment. And I believe that those things also help with the rest of the body working. So Frankie is saying from Detroit that her son's pediatrician had a fit when she didn't treat a fever with Tylenol. Like these doctors are just pushing Tylenol. I know I just mentioned it. I was kind of embarrassed to mention that I actually, at one point gave my dad Tylenol, but I think it was also psychological for him that I was giving him something for pain because that's just what he's so used to. But I countered it with milk thistle to help get that out of his system. But now she says she's using homeopathy remedies, with good results. But you're saying, are you saying that with pretty much any injury? Like what kinds of injuries or what kind of pain are best treated by chiropractic care?
Well, I mean, listen, there are, when you say treating pain, I'm going to again say, like, at least from our perspective, we're not treating the pain, so to speak. We're working with the body to help the body heal itself. I think that's a really big distinction. And I love Frankie's comment, by the way. And I wanted to thank her for sharing that, because Frankie, I do believe that the pediatric industry is really in trouble. They're really being bullied by the drug industry to push drugs. They cannot make a living unless they give lots and lots of vaccines, certain percentages of vaccines, and they cannot make a living. And they don't understand really the body's ability to heal itself. That's why last time we were together, I recommended that book. It's called How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor, written by a pediatrician. It's fantastic. And it is the common sense guide. And he will say just the opposite of what your pediatrician said, by the way, Frankie. So I suggest you get that book. You can get it on Amazon. It's not expensive. And so when you say, so let's say you had a pain and you wanted to get it treated, we would evaluate no matter what it was. And we would look for imbalances that get in the way of your body's ability to heal itself. And we would remove those interferences. It could be in the neck. It could be in the middle back. It could be in the lower back. It could be in an extremity. And here's why I think that's such an important approach, Zen, is you've heard of referred pain or no?
I've heard of it, but go ahead and explain it again.
Okay, so referred pain is the kind of pain that you feel it in one place in your body, but it originates, the cause of the pain is somewhere else.
Right.
Okay, so I'll give you some specific examples. So if you have a heart problem, sometimes it's not chest pain that you get pain in your arm and your hand.
Right. Yeah. When you have a heart attack, they say if your arm starts to hurt, right, that you could be having a heart attack. And I'm like, what is that about? Right.
So that's an example of referred pain. So if you have a gallbladder problem, you may have shoulder pain. If you have, you can have foot pain that's coming from your sciatic nerve that originates in your low back. You could have trigger finger in your hand, as an example, or a weak grip where you say, okay, the symptom is in my hand, but the cause is in the neck. People have thyroid issues. People have gut issues where the cause of the gut issue could be from something in the middle back or the upper neck, or it could be something from a nutritional situation where they maybe get an imbalance in it. Maybe it's an overuse of antibiotics or something like that. And so their gut gets out of balance. And so now they have this issue in their gut that could reflex back and affect the nervous system. So the body is an organ. It's this entire system. And so the cause of most pain and problems in the body and how the body's expressing or telling you about it is not always felt in the area where the problem is. For example, you could take a toxin into your digestion. You could eat toxins, and maybe you had bad seafood or something like that. And the symptom is, I have diarrhea. You say, wow, what's wrong with my colon? Well, there's nothing wrong with your colon. It's actually working properly because your body's getting rid of the toxin. People that have alcohol poisoning is an example, where they drink too much and all of a sudden they start vomiting up what they drank. You say, oh my God, well, it must be a stomach issue. No, it's a toxicity issue. So I think what is important, the shift in conversation here, and why I love seeing people get so healthy when they make this shift, it's a game changer like your family's about to do, going from a crisis care mentality to a lifestyle care mentality as it relates to the health of your nervous system and the components of that we talk about in the 100-Year Lifestyle. Your body gets so much stronger on its own. and it heals itself.
Yeah,
It begins to. Can
I just add in for the people who are hearing that for the first time, the crisis care system is when you only go to the chiropractor or to the doctor. But in this case, the chiropractor, when you're like in acute pain, you know, like I can't walk. I mean, I've done that so many times. Something happened in my back, and I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. And we said, let's just give it a shot. Go to the chiropractor. I walk in feeling like I need pain medication or maybe even surgery. I walk out feeling fine. Maybe not right the first visit, but at least by the third visit. And that's been miraculous for me for the past, 20 years or so. I've been doing that, and I really just cannot encourage people enough to give it a shot. And then the lifestyle management is when you go, not when you're in pain. I mean, not that you don't go when you're in pain, but you go even if you're not in pain, and you go consistently, whether it's twice a month or once a month or whatever works for you in your lifestyle, in order to keep that nervous system healthy and functioning. And that's a completely different way of looking at care. And what we're seeing is that it's sorting things out that we didn't even expect, didn't even hope for.
Well, what is fun about it is it's a priority shift. It's a hierarchy shift. And we call it in the 100-Year Lifestyle. And by the way, if you go to anybody that's listening, if you go to 100yearlifestyle.com and you start clicking through some of the articles, there'll be a pop-up that asks you if you want a free copy of the 100-Year Lifestyle second edition as an ebook, and we'll send it to you. So if you fill that out, we'll send it to you as an ebook for free. And the fourth section of the book, it talks about the healthcare hierarchy of the 100-Year Lifestyle, which is different than the norm that is in our country today, which in our country, it's living from crisis to crisis to crisis. It's crisis care oriented. Well, the healthcare hierarchy of the 100-Year Lifestyle is self-care first, healthcare second, crisis care last. Crisis care is last. So self-care, these are the things that you have to do for yourself that nobody else can do for you. So nobody can sleep for you. Nobody can sweat for you. These are things that you have to do for yourself.
Yeah.
Healthcare.
Feed yourself organic food.
Feed yourself organic food.
Plenty of water. Take that time to take a break, get up from your desk every hour, really like set an alarm and get up from your desk every hour and move around and do some jumping jacks or, whatever that is. Get outside, get your bare feet on the ground, right? That's self-care.
That is self-care, movement, exercise.
Not doing that for you.
Right. And now healthcare, these are the things that you can't do for yourself, that you have to do that you can't do for yourself. So I've been a chiropractor for 35 years. I cannot adjust my own spine. So my chiropractor, I got adjusted today, as a matter of fact. I work hard. I cleaned out the garage this weekend. We had a lot of people moving into my house, moving out of my house, moving in and moving out. And so it was time. I just needed to just go through, clean it all up. Well, you know what? I needed an adjustment today, but I didn't need one. I wanted one. Not because I was in pain, but because I knew that I put physical strain on my body, and why would I not want to be 100%? So I got a little adjustment, got everything aligned and balanced. I'm doing great. And, we're very blessed. I don't want to jinx it. I don't believe that that's going to happen, but we almost, in our family, we almost never get sick. We almost never get sick. And when we do get sick, we don't even call it that. We just change the vocabulary. We say we're out of balance, because what happens is when your body's out of balance, you get broke. So you got, the crisis care is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the nursing home generation. That was their motto. And they define broke as serious life-threatening disease or severe excruciating pain. Well, what we define in the 100-Year Lifestyle, we redefine broke, and we say when you're out of balance, you're broke. So the idea is always keeping your body, through your nutrition, through what you eat, obviously through your movement, through keeping your structure aligned and balanced. You keep everything aligned and balanced so you never get broke. And when that happens, your resistance is higher, your body is more adaptive. I mean, you talk a lot about 5G. I think it's really important that you're getting the message out to everybody about these issues that are really important, because it causes stress on the body. But what's cool about it is that the stronger you keep yourself, the more in balance you keep yourself, the more your nervous system is working, and you have these 5 components of the 100-year lifestyle, like the neurology, nutrition, endurance, strength, and structure. We could talk about maybe that another time. And you keep all of that working, the more resistive you get. And the question that always stuck with me ever since day one of when I went to school was the developer or the discoverer of chiropractic, D.D. Palmer, asked this question, and I love this question. He said, I wanted to learn why two people sitting at the same table, eating the same food, breathing the same air in the same environment, why one got sick and one didn't.
Right.
And that is the premise question that is still relevant today, maybe more relevant today than it ever has been, because the amount of stress in the environment is greater.
Right, but so are you saying that he found out it was what was going on in the body, like what that person, whether they were in alignment or not, and that's what he discovered?
Correct. That was a big part of it, and that was where he made the connection between the nervous system. And actually, the first adjustment that was ever given was not given for a backache. It was somebody that hurt his back. His name was Harvey Lillard. Lost his hearing after he went and moved and injured his back. Lost his hearing. Was deaf for a long time. Dee said, hey, Harvey, let me check that thing. He adjusted him with very rudimentary first adjustment, and his hearing came back. It wasn't for back pain. And so in the flu epidemic as an example, which is why we see a lot of people now, everybody on the line, you should be going to get adjusted. I'm telling you, in the flu epidemic of 1918, chiropractors were on the front lines adjusting people like crazy, and chiropractic patients did not get sick near as compared to the rest of the population. And it was documented in I think it was the Spanish flu 1918. And it was very exciting time for our profession. It's one of the things that grew our profession in the early days of our industry. And now what's really interesting is when this pandemic hit, we were named essential healthcare providers. So we actually came full circle from what we talked about earlier in this call, where those prehistoric beliefs about what chiropractors did. And the reason why they named us essential during the pandemic is they realized that people that get adjusted on a regular basis are much less likely to end up in a hospital.
Right. So you're talking about preventing sickness, and you're talking about preventing injury as well. But can we get back to one more second, just so that I'm clear to understand, how does chiropractic care relieve pain? Like, let's say it's an injury, like in your elbow. And I mean, clearly there's muscle damage, right? There's tissue damage or there's bone damage. Like, how does the nervous system getting adjusted help the pain to be relieved? What's the mechanism? What's happening there?
Okay, so let me I'm going to do a disclaimer here. So if you cut your hand really bad or your wrist really badly, and it needs stitches.
Yes. Yeah.
When you stitch it, you go to the hospital, they stitch it up, you go somewhere, they stitch it up. The stitches hold it together, the body does the healing.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Okay,
yep.
So that's important, because if you cut a corpse, a cadaver, a dead body, and you cut it and stitched it, it would not grow back.
Right, yes, got it.
Okay,
yeah,
so there's a life, what's that?
Yeah. It's the body that's doing the healing.
Correct.
Yes.
So that life force.
Yes.
The what?
The innate intelligence, like you were saying, of the body.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that intelligence is always working inside of you. And so what is the mechanism? Well, if there's no nerve interference and there's no broken bone, for example, but here's a broken bone, you set it, what does the healing? It's the innate
body.
Intelligence of the body, right? So the body knows what to do. And sometimes what happens in a fall like that or an injury, there's an interference that happens, an injury that happens to the nervous system also. It could be a little bit, it could be a lot. And so if you get it adjusted, make sure that it's clear and balanced, the body will have the ability to do its job, to do what it needs to do, because the nervous system knows what to do.
Now, you're really asking people to do a total paradigm shift of how they think about their bodies, because most of us have been raised with parents, baby boomer generation especially, to take a pill. Somebody has a sniffle, you give them a pill. Somebody else has a cough, you give them a syrup. It's never about the body healing itself. It's always about something else that has to be put into the body to help it heal. So you're really, I mean, you're asking us to really give up a lot of beliefs that we've had for generations now.
Yeah, so you have to understand and acknowledge, all of us, that our brains have been bought. They have been bought by trillions of dollars of ads designed to sell drugs that are designed to alter the way we feel.
Yeah, TV commercials, 70% of the commercials on TV are big pharma folks. And the other ones are predominantly fast food, junk food that interrupts your body's ability to heal itself and actually puts it into a state of degeneration. So we've been brainwashed. Our brains have been.
And there's another great article on 100yearlifestyle.com. It's called The Ultimate Healthcare Technology, which is your body's innate intelligence. And I'm not trying to be woo-woo about it, but here's the reality. We're having a conversation, and if you're listening to me right now and you're listening to Zen, then you are not thinking about your heartbeat. You're not thinking about digesting your dinner. You're not thinking about elimination. You're not thinking about exchange of nutrients. You're not thinking about your cells, your going around that are your white blood cells going around chewing up all the infections that are building up in your body, which are happening all the time. You're not thinking about any of those things. You're not thinking about the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide in your lungs, but all of that is happening anyway, because your innate intelligence is on the job and it always knows what to do. And it kind of blows me away that we don't have confidence in that. Like, to me, it is shocking that people would have more confidence in a something from the outside. I mean, there's never been a human being that's ever been made in a laboratory. Certainly we can manipulate body chemistry. It's the miracle within, it blows my mind. And here's the thing, going back to what I just said, if you cut your arm, it's not the sutures that heal it, it's your body. And every day when you fall, you cut yourself, you stub your toe, and you get, oh my God, I stubbed my toe. And a week later, it's better, and you forgot all about it, but it healed itself anyway. Well, that's happening all the time. And the better your body is functioning, when we talk about going from crisis care to lifestyle care, your body's resistance gets so much higher. Your response time is so much higher. And then here's the other piece of it. If you're minimizing or not taking any pharmaceuticals, then you have clean blood. So you have healthy nervous system and clean blood. And then you add to that clean food. And oh my God, you're going to live way beyond 100 healthy. You're not going to rot away like a human preservative in a nursing home, like this nursing home generation. You're going to thrive. Yeah. And you're going to thrive for, who knows what the upper limit of longevity is, but we are really beating ourselves up with all the environmental factors that you bring to the table and you let us all know about. And we're so grateful for that. And at the same time, knowing that the nervous system controls everything, keeping it in a line, balance, and highly functional should be a priority. And I think I mentioned this in our last call. I think, again, my kids are 31, 29, and 27, and their entire life have probably been to a medical doctor, including the pediatrician, maybe 3 times.
Wow.
Combined.
That's not what today's generation of kids that get 69 doses of vaccines. That's 16 different vaccines with booster shots. 69 doses is what's recommended in today's society in America. The kids that are getting these vaccines across the board are sicker. They have more ear infections. They have more colds. They have more autoimmune issues. They're going back and forth to the doctors. It's like, and for parents with 3 kids, I mean, it could be, a many times a month event. They're going back and forth to doctors. I have many friends. Had a friend with a baby, 18 months old, was allergic to apples. Another friend whose kid was allergic to pepper. Another one was allergic to mangoes. My son was rashing out from watermelon. And this is a combination of the toxins and a combination of, I believe, the vaccines, and a combination of not getting just, and also depending on antibiotics for other different kinds of illnesses. Our kids are being inundated with these toxins. And most people don't know that you can take a child, you can take a baby to get a chiropractic adjustment and really support their system as well, right?
And yes, and I got to tell you, I'm really glad we're having this conversation. for several reasons. Number one, I've been doing this 35 years and I've done a lot. I've reached a lot of people with books and all kinds of media things, et cetera. And I haven't done enough, because to have somebody like you who is so well educated, just learning about this makes me want to scream from the mountaintops to help these moms and these families to live differently. And you say to me that, Dr. Plasker, you're talking about a completely different way of thinking.
Yeah.
And we are in desperate need of a completely different way of thinking.
Yes.
We are in desperate need of a completely different. And I'm kind of a pain.
We've been going to a chiropractor for about 20 years, but and for crisis care. For crisis care, not consistent care. And that this is a new thing for me. And that is a problem, because I think the majority of Americans don't even consider going to a chiropractor consistently and don't know the benefits guys, this is the way to opt out of big pharma. This is the way to opt out and to reclaim your health and to get out of that whole cycle of side effects and toxic meds and giving pharmaceutical your money that they're going to use to develop more vaccines. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
And you know what? I'm kind of a pain in the ass this way, Zen. I'm telling you right now, we haven't wavered in our message for 35 years and helping people all over the world, and so many great mentors that I had along the way. But what's different about today and the time that we're living in is that we have to learn our lives, and our children's lives really can be at stake. I mean, I did that podcast interview with that woman just recently from Ohio, where she said, I did what the doctor told me to do, and her passion that drives me every day. And now she's got an autistic child. Fortunately, their family's been seeing a chiropractor, not just for crisis care, but for lifestyle care. And you know what? They're tired of being bullied by pediatricians. We did an amazing interview with Caitlin the other day, podcast, and she did an amazing job. So her book, which everybody should get, it's called Safe and Effective ? What a great title. And it's a powerful
Safe and Effective, Why Medical Freedom is Worth Fighting For. She's a registered nurse, and she wrote a book, which is basically a guidebook for medical freedom activism. So it's really great. And she also reviewed Dr. Sears' book, the new updated vaccine book by Dr. Sears. Most people know about him. So she did a review of that and a summary of her book. She did an interview with you, and that's found on momsacrossamerica.org. Really powerful interview. You guys did a great job together.
Well, she made it easy to do a great job, just like you do. I love the passion that you moms bring to the table. And I got to say, I see my brother, Dr. Jordan Plasker, joined us. He's got a practice, and he's holding his dog right there. You can see him, cute little pup. And but Dr. Jordan, he's great chiropractor in Montvale, New Jersey. He's 100-year lifestyle chiropractor. And my family, it's interesting because we were very fortunate. I think back when that doctor said to me, take these pills and don't play, circling back to the whole pain thing. He said, take these pills and don't play for 30 days. And I believe it was some type of opioid derivative type of drug. Back then, maybe it was a Percocet or something like that.
Probably.
And so I'm so grateful that I really wanted to play super badly. I wanted to get out on the field, and I heard him say, this is not what he said, but this is what I heard him say. I heard him say, drugs equal don't play.
Right.
What a gift that was. What a gift. Because that's what I heard, I said, I'm not taking that. Are you out of your mind? No way, I'm not taking that. But that was before drugs were advertised on television at $1 trillion.
Right.
So that was before our brains had been bought.
And before perhaps your parents thought that that's what you should do too.
Yeah.
Right. The parents weren't pushing.
And so watch, we're going to have amazing conversations ongoing about this. So even before the drug industry started advertising on television, which I think a key piece of this is we're teaching people how to think about health. To me, that's more important even than how to deal with pain, because if you know how to think about your body, you'll find the answers because you'll look in the right places. And obviously a chiropractic office is absolutely the right place. The information that you're giving, people don't even know that more people need to know that you exist. They don't even know that these things from the environment are affecting their bodies. We need to educate all of these people about that. You go back to before our brains were bought by the pharmaceutical industry, our brains were bought by the tobacco industry. I have a video of, if you go to 100yearlifestyle.com, there's a great article. It's called Doctors Recommend Smoking. And if you open up that article, do you remember candy cigarettes?
Yeah. Yep. We used to get them as kids. I mean, not so much, not very often, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was $1 billion of buying the brain, everybody's brain, buying your brain, recommended by doctors. 26,000 doctors recommend Lucky Strike over any other type of cigarette.
Yep.
Do you remember those ads? So those ads are in this article.
My father, he was in World War II. They actually gave free cigarettes to the soldiers in order to get them hooked. So when they came back, they would buy them. And he used to see advertising showing a doctor saying smoking, Camels, whatever, it soothes the throat. They actually promoted it as medicinal.
I know, and that makes me crazy. So we're going to bring this circle back to what's happening today in just a second. So if you open that, go check out that article. In that article is a video which shows the doctor ads scroll through with a baby sitting in a high chair, a home movie of a baby sitting in a high chair, and the parents gave this kid a pack of real cigarettes to play with, a 1-year-old baby, and then took a match and lit the match and was waving it in front of the cigarettes and waving it in front of the baby like, oh, you're going to do this when you get older and all. This is good. The doctor says so. And I watched that and I cringe. You know why I cringe? Guess who that baby was?
Who?
Me.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. I was cute, but man, I wasn't cute with cigarettes in front of my face like that. And literally, but my parents, I had good parents. My parents loved me. They thought they were doing the right thing. 26,000 doctors recommended Lucky Strike and Marlboro and all these other things. It soothed the throat, right? And then we went to a little bit of vaccines, and now we're mandating lots and lots and lots of vaccines, and doctors are behind it. And you know what? The doctors, sadly, in my opinion, have become pawns in the game, which is why the pharmaceutical industry wants to take them out of the equation. They have become puppets. My industry, chiropractors, we are very fortunate, in my opinion. I've always been politically active and involved in my profession. We have always chosen to be separate and distinct and not be a part of mainstream medicine. And it was one of the reasons why, going back to our original piece of this conversation, where we got attacked by the medics. We did not want to be a part of mainstream medicine. We had a different philosophy. We wanted to support the body healing itself. We didn't want to cut out organs, and not to say that it never needs to happen. That's crisis care, and truly crisis situations or life-threatening situations. There are times when that's necessary, of course, but not as ongoing health care and not as regular care. And an aspirin a day does not keep the doctor away. In fact, just the opposite we found out is true today, because they used to say an aspirin a day helps prevent heart attacks. It does not help prevent heart attacks. It has adverse effects over time. And so we have to understand now today that they are buying our brains right now with trillions of dollars between.
I have to add, I've read the book Outrageous Medical Acts Against Women, and they actually say too that aspirin that is promoted to women to prevent heart attacks was never tested on females. It was tested on 2,000 males. So and women have an estrous cycle. They have a whole different, makeup in their body, and a lot of these medications are not even tested on females. So,
and there are links to pancreatic cancer that are being explored from aspirin and baby aspirin. And so, listen, your body is amazing. What's the take home, right? We're talking about fall in love with your body's ability to heal itself, and start to work with your body to remove the interference. And, for a lot of people, that's eliminating the interference in your diet, things that are toxic. There's a great article on 100yearlifestyle.com. It's called The Interference Principle. Check it out. There's a whole playlist on our YouTube channel. It's like an hour long on, it's called The Interference Principle. It's a playlist. And it just takes you through all the ways that your body can get interfered with and how you can remove that interference. And I'm telling you, when that happens, you will blow your own mind how your body has the ability to heal itself if you do the right things. Not to say you would never, ever need medical intervention. Of course, in times of severe crisis, absolutely. But for most of us, starting with the self-care and the healthcare, you're on a much better path to help your body heal itself.
Great. All right. So I'm just gonna sum this up with what I heard. Self-care, meaning, eat a clean diet, clean up, especially if you're in pain right now. Clean your diet up and get outside, take care of get exercise, outside, fresh air, clean water, all of that. And try out chiropractic care, because when you get adjusted and get alignment, your nervous system is able to do the body's able to do what it's supposed to do. Your nervous system's able to send those signals. What did I hear from my chiropractor? 3 million signals a second is what your nervous system?
Yeah, and there is no drug that can do that, by the way.
Yeah, and if
drugs will only slow that down.
Yeah, and if you're interfering with that, with toxins, bad food, or with drugs, then those signals can't be sent. I mean, and that's a whole lot of signals that your body is working on sending. Those are some important messages that are needing to be sent.
Yeah, and this is true empowerment. This is true personal empowerment, to be free from that fear.
Yeah, so you are asking us to trust our bodies more than, good night, Jordan. Good night, everybody. I know we're going to have to work.
See you, bro.
But you're asking us to trust our bodies more than outside sources of chemical medications, which have not necessarily been tested on, right. Trust ourselves more, trust our bodies more. And I love that message. It's very empowering. I appreciate everybody being on with us tonight. It really takes the paradigm shift in your thinking. And that is,
I get chills thinking about it.
Yeah, not numbing your body with pain meds. Try chiropractic care, self-care, cleaning out your diet, and wow, you want to bring trust back for our bodies. I love it. I love it.
Love it.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being on with us tonight on our Moms Connect call. Please go to momsacrossamerica.org and sign up for our newsletter, read our blogs, sign our campaigns. And just have to share, we just launched a new campaign today. Before we go, please check it out. It is our Moms for Moms campaign 2021, and our board members have chosen passion projects, things that they want to accomplish in 2021, and they're asking you to invest in the future of America by donating towards their passion project. Each one has a different one. They're all awesome. And if you can donate a little bit towards each one, we really appreciate that. Go to momsacrossamerica.org and check out our new campaign. Thanks so much for being with us, everybody. Take care and good night.
Thanks, Ann.
Take care. Take care. Thank you. Okay. Okay. I don't know how to get the participant list. Oh, here, participants. Okay.
Zen, are you Central Time or Eastern Time?
I'm Eastern Time, so it's 9:14 here now. Oh, I think we're still live on Facebook. Okay, sorry.